Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be going over my top 10 worst books of 2024. Let's start. Number 10 is Melonhead Mayhem by Alex Ebenstein, which is book 1 in the Killer VHS series, which if you saw my top 10 best, you'll see 2 of the Killer VHS series made it into my top 10. And this one, the first book, and thank God I did not read this one first, because if I read this book first, I would not have continued the series. I gave this a 3 out of 5. I didn't think it was like horrible or unreadable. It just, the writing was very amateur. It was a very amateurish written book. The story was pretty boring. It didn't really do anything for me. It was these 2 kids, they're like adults now. Their grandma dies, they go into her house, and then they find this VHS that's supposed to be critters. They put it in, and it's this movie called Melonhead Mayhem, and then the creatures come to life and start attacking them or whatever. And so they're running around trying to solve it. And it's just, the story just was not there. It was not it. Hey, baby. Hey, Queen Cub. And it was just, it wasn't horrible. Like, it's only like 100 pages. It wasn't awful to read. It just is so unmemorable, especially compared to Candy Cane Kills and Teleportasm. Teleportasm especially. The writing in Teleportasm is fucking phenomenal. And I read this one, then Teleportasm right after. And I was like, oh fuck, Melonheaded or Head Mayhem is ass. And tis number 10 worst. Number 9 is Final Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, which is the 3rd book in a trilogy of the Slaughter whatever trilogy. It's like Camp Slaughter, Halloween Slaughter, and then Final Slaughter, which like majority of this book, well, I'll tell you. So the survivors of the last 2 books come together to try to take out, what's his name? Ignacio. They're trying to take out the killer guy from the first 2 books. So they all team up and form a plan or whatever. And so like 75% of this book is them forming the plan. Once like plan and like grabbing people, getting them together so they can execute the plan. And then as soon as they go to actually face Ignacio, there's no fucking plan. And it's the most fucking dumbest shit I've ever seen. There's no actual plan. They were like, we're just gonna go there and do it. Bitch, you saw them. Like, you've seen them kill your family members and friends. Why do you not have a fucking plan? They just get there and get fucking wrecked. Like, spoiler alert, but this, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It really wasn't that bad, but it was so fucking disappointing for the end of a series. It was fucking embarrassing how dumb it was. Truly dumb. And you expect me to think these people survived the first time? Like, fucking how? It was so fucking stupid. And like, there's some people that weren't there for the first 2 books that are introduced and go with them. And it's like, okay, if they're stupid, that's one thing. But also, the people that survived should have been like, no, don't go off alone. Don't go to the porch to cook something alone. What the fuck? Like, it was just so stupid, so poorly put together, and really soured me on the series. Number 8 is Belly Up by Stuart Gibbs, which I think this is a middle grade book. I read it in middle school. This was one of the books in middle school that everyone was reading and taking out of the library. It's a murder mystery book, but it's around the death of a hippo. It follows this kid who lives at a zoo. His parents are zookeepers, and he's trying to figure out what happened to the hippo, Henry the hippo, who's like the biggest attraction. And I remember when I first read this book, I ate it up. I loved it. I thought it was so good. So I reread a bunch of my favorites from when I was younger this past year. This book was just fucking boring. The mystery was not there. The characters were not there. I don't know how the fuck my middle school self sat through and read this. My 23-year-old self was struggling to get through this. It was so fucking boring. None of the pieces were getting put together. There was no mystery at all. It was so bad. So, I don't know, maybe if your kid's in middle school, have them read this. I don't know. It was ass. I didn't like it. Number 7 is Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina, which I think all these books got like 3 out of 5. None of these are horrible books. The problem with this book, Sisters of the Lost Nation, is it like advertises itself as a mystery book, and it's just not. It follows a sister duo on a reservation when one of the sisters goes missing, and then you hop through time to see, or like go to the past to see the sisters like interactions and shit. And the mystery is so fucking obvious. Immediately clocked what was going on and what was happening. It was just such a nothing burger. I liked the reservation talk and the stuff in that, but it just didn't go anywhere. The book was just fucking boring. I just had a hard time getting through it, and that's the worst thing For me, personally, the worst thing a book can be is boring. That's not true, because one of the other books on here, my like number one, or not number one, no, number two, wasn't boring, but it was ass. So that's not true. But one of the worst things it can be is boring. And this was just boring. The mystery was not there. The characters were not there. It was just ass. 6 is Jack's Run by Roland Smith, which is a sequel to Zach's Lie, which I read in middle school and reread this year. Love Zach's Lie. Highly recommend it. Do not read this book. Zach's Lie is about a kid who has to go into the thing where you like get plopped in town, like Princess Protection Program. Whatever the princess does, like she moves to a random town and has to pretend to be a cousin or whatever. They have to witness protection. That's what it is. Jack has to go into witness protection and then put in contacts, dye his hair. His name's Zach now, and he has to acclimate to a new life. And it was a very chill book about the everyday life of a kid in witness protection program, which I really enjoyed. This one is so fucking dumb. It becomes like Zach or Jack, whatever, becomes like a super spy and is doing like diffusing bombs and bullshit. It was so fucking dumb. And then the ending, how they fucking... It was so fucking ass. It was so stupid. When the first book was so grounded in reality, this one went fucking bonkers. The fucking sister, the way the bad guys find them, like, I don't care, I'm spoiling. No one's gonna read this. Don't read this. Just read the first book if you want to. The sister, who they're in witness protection program, their dad was a drug cartel guy who did shit, and then so the cartel people wanted to find them and do shit. I don't know, whatever. And so there's this big trial that the dad is supposed to be a witness for. So they're supposed to be like keeping like a low profile and shit. So the sister decides, let me go on American Idol. Which I think American Idol, it's usually the auditions are, and then it takes like a couple months before it actually goes out. But for this one, it's like the auditions were happening, and then she's on the news and on the TV already. Which I don't know if that would happen, but bitch, why the fuck are you going on American Idol if you're on witness protection program? The trial's not over. What are we doing? It was fucking baffling. Baffling. It was just so bad, so doo-doo, so ass. Would not recommend. Number 5 is Little Heaven by Nick Cutter. Which this is like, there's like 2 timelines, I think? I don't even remember. It's like a trio of bitches that do shit. Like, they're criminals, 2 guys, a girl. And then they go to like this culty town and do shit one year, then they have to return and do shit again. I don't remember. It was ass. It was so boring. That's all I remember. The characters were so nothing, and it was so boring and so fucking long. That's it. Number 4 is You Know What You Did by K.T. Nugent, which this was a Literally Dead book club pick, and this follows like, I don't remember. I do. It's a lady who immigrated here with her mom, and her mom lives in this shed, and she has a husband and then a daughter, and then the grandma ends up dead, or like her mom ends up dead, and so shit like spirals, and then I don't remember. Literally nothing fucking happened in this book. It was so goddamn boring. It was a fucking struggle. It took me like a month to read this goddamn book. It was awful. I absolutely despised it. No, that's so dramatic. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. It was just so boring. I did not care. That was the end of the story. I did not care. It was bad. Number 3 is The Angel Maker by Alex North, which I read The Whisper Man a long time ago and really liked, so I saw this one, so I picked it up. Bitch, I can't remember. The problem with these last few books, I don't fucking remember. I remember this being the most nothing book that when I was reading it. It was nothing. There was like, I think someone could like see into the future or some shit. I don't remember. I truly do not remember anything about this book. I remember like a kid died or something, or like her brother died and then she's felt guilt. I couldn't tell you. That's why it's number 3. It was so fucking boring. Such a nothing burger of a book. Number 3. Number 2 is Every Star That Falls, which is the sequel to Suicide Notes, which if you watched my best, that's on there as one of the best books. Bitch, I fucking hate this bitch. It's so bad. Oh my God. So the biggest issues in Suicide Notes is there's a character who essays someone basically, and it's never addressed in Suicide Notes. So, and this is like released like 15 years later after Suicide Notes. And so I thought, okay, he's gonna clean that up. He's gonna make that make sense. Nope. He introduces the essaying character back into the story and does nothing with him. Like, bitch. Like, and they act like what happened was okay because the character in the first book is gay. That was not okay. He essayed him. Like, what the fuck? He did not ask for that to be happening. Like, oh my God. And because that was the biggest criticism of the first book I saw on Goodreads. So I was thinking, okay, he's waited 15 years. He's going to clean that shit up. Did not. The kid in the first book, Jeff, had a best friend who, like, shit went down and then he wasn't sure if they were friends anymore. And bitch, her whole fucking storyline was so fucking dumb, too. It was so aggravating. Like, this shit was just so fucking dumb. And bitch, this kid is 15 years old. He just got out of a psych ward. Why are you, as an author, putting him into a fucking throuple? I'm sorry, hot take. Teenagers should not be in thruples. I don't know, noose me up, hang me for that. I don't give a fuck. Teenagers should not be in thruples. Thruples are for consenting adults that know how to properly communicate to each other. In the first fucking book, Jeff had a hard time even revealing the truth to himself of what happened. So now you're gonna have him be in a fucking throuple with two people that they're not even interested in each other. They're both just interested in Jeff. Like, how is that gonna fucking work? Why would you do that to the character? Put him in the fucking throuple. That is so fucking stupid. I'm so sorry, that's so dumb. A 50-year-old kid should not be in a throuple. Consenting adults who know how to properly communicate can be in thruples, and it can work. It just fucking pissed me off. Ass. Really dampened how much I liked Suicide Notes. Truly. Ass. Number 1 is Such Dark Things by Courtney Evan Tate. Which, bitch, this is okay. Here. I'm gonna read you the back. A horrific, reoccurring nightmare is threatening to steal her sanity. Dr. Corinne Cabot, it's C-A-B-O-T, Cabot, whatever, is living the American dream. She's a successful ER physician in Chicago who's married to a handsome husband. Together, they live in a charming house in the suburbs. But appearances can be deceiving. What no one can see is Corinne's dark past, troubling gaps in her memory. Memory means she recalls little about a haunting event in her life years ago that changed everything. She remembers only being in her house the night 2 people were found murdered. Her father was there too. Now her father is in prison. She hasn't been in contact in years. Repressing that terrifying memory has caused Corinne moments of paranoia and panic. Sometimes she thinks she sees things that aren't there, hears words that haven't been spoken, or have they. She fears she may be losing her mind, unable to determine what's real and what's not. When she senses her husband growing distant, she thinks she's imagining things. She writes her suspicions off to fatigue, overwork, anything to explain what she can't accept, that her life really isn't what it seems. This is a dark, erotic thriller. I thought this was a mystery thriller. It is a dark, erotic thriller. I was not prepared for the fucking sex scene and pussy juices that were being discussed and condom sucking out shit. Like, I was not prepared. So you would think, okay, so our doctor lady's the main character. No. Well, kind of. It's split in half between the main lady and her husband. So the main lady's story was interesting. I liked it. I like to see you were interested to see what happened in the past. The husband's story is all about him wanting to cheat on his wife and him accepting that. Or like trying to rationalize with the fact why he wants to cheat with his wife. Bitch, I did not sign up for that. I'm not interested in seeing a man rationalize cheating on his wife. This was fucking ass. I hated it. It was so bad that there was fucking innuendos to incest and shit in this. Nasty. Which I get if that's your thing, whatever, not to yuck someone's yum. If you like reading stories about that and you find it interesting, no tea, no shade, I don't care. But from the back, I was not expecting that. I was expecting a mystery thriller book. And that's not what this was. This was a dark, erotic kind of thriller. It was just ass. And the fucking ending, she doesn't break up with him. They literally stay together and have a fucking child. Are you kidding me? I don't give a fuck that I spoiled this. Don't read this book. It's ass. I hated it. I think horrible. Would not recommend. Ass. And that's my worst book of the year. See you guys next time.